The politician has not been born that can outsmart the entrepreneur.
Okay, everybody. Welcome back to the Business Newsroom. We're having some fun here. So, interestingly enough, we were sitting here and
debating what we're going to talk about.
We were talking about what to talk about, not to talk about, and then we had a 15-minute argument back and forth about what to talk about and not talk about because it's controversial subjects or topics or different views.
And we both think we won.
And I think I'm right. He thinks he's right. And then our cameraman's like, why didn't we just film this and post that? Because this is good information. So here's what we're going to do. We're going
to boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're going to boldly open up some doors here and see where it takes us from a business newsroom perspective.
Right.
What started all of this was that I saw numerous articles in the last 24 hours and really over the last 3 months. I mean, it's been a thing. Companies pulling sponsorships or business ads or TV commercials or whatever off of certain platforms because of the political views of a person on that show or of that news network or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So most recently, Ben Shapiro lost Quip toothbrushes, which are not good anyway. So go Ben Shapiro. But here's what's interesting to me, and this is what started all this, is keeping business and politics separate and in this arena. So here's what's interesting to me. What's interesting to me is that you can have a person who stands up who has been talking about their political view. I mean, Ben Shapiro is different from business because his business is politics.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Rush Limbaugh or whatever.
Correct. His business is politics. And then you have a sponsor who says, well, because you said X, Y, and Z, whether you agree with it, you don't, whatever, but because you said X, Y, and Z, we're going to pull our sponsorship. That pissed me off, actually. And the reason it pissed me off is because that now says that I am not a customer for Quip toothbrushes if I agree with what he said.
Right.
As a product and as a business, your job is to provide your product or your service to anybody.
Right.
To say that because the political views of somebody that I like are different from your political views, that means I shouldn't buy your toothbrush.
Right.
But what does that have to do with my clean teeth?
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with it. So politics and business have become so
integrated
and lost.
Yeah.
Right. That we were talking about alienating your public, your public because of political views.
Right.
Another interesting one is that there was a news. I love cars and automotive news. There was a website that I used to love. I used to go to the website 4 times a day to read news articles. It was called Jalopnik. It's a car website. And because the entire conglomerate that owns it is all anti-Trump and politics, I couldn't read a review about the Corvette Grand Sport without having a Donald Trump joke in it.
Right.
Now, whether you agree with Trump or you don't, I actually fall in the middle. I don't agree with the Dems. I don't agree with the Republicans. Right. I'm in the middle, whatever. But I'm like, why do I have to read this when I'm trying to be here for a car review?
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. So instead of going to that website 4 or 5 times a day, I stopped going to it for about 2 years. And now I will find an occasional article that pops up as like a suggested, and it has nothing to do with politics, or I hope, and I might read an article or whatever, right? But we're trying to keep this all separate in business.
Right. And so here's my point. You have to take a look at the product or service that you're providing, and it's going to, if we talk about politics for the moment, because I want to go in a little bit different direction here in a second, but so you have people that are Democrat buying the product, you have people that are Republican buying the product, you have people who don't care.
Right.
You have libertarians, you have people who, haven't ever voted in their life, and all of a sudden now you're taking an irrelevant issue, which is politics, and merging it, a controversy, right into your product.
Right.
And so you have group A and you have group B, and they have completely polar opposite viewpoints.
Yeah.
And they're all buying your product.
Right.
And so now you take a stance on A or you take a stance on B. Why? you're going to lose. So you take a stance on B.
Right.
You're going to lose A. Anybody in A who's really passionate about A, you just lost A.
Right.
You say, well, I'm going to gain in B. I don't think you're going to gain that much.
Right.
So it's a ridiculous, that's the word I'll use right now. It's a ridiculous business decision to take a stance on a controversial issue, person, or viewpoint. It does nothing to help your business. It's skating on thin ice
Right.
that is absolutely going to break.
Right.
Because there's nothing to gain from it. And you know what? I consult thousands of dentists, and I see this happen after every political election. It doesn't matter who won.
Right.
We have clients who are upset. And they'll go on their Facebook page and they're, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. And it doesn't matter who won. Candidate A, candidate B, it doesn't matter. And they make it matter. So the point is, whoever won the election, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You can say, well, they're going to raise taxes. Okay, make more money. It does not matter. And the practice management company that I'm a partner at has grown year after year after year. And I've been a partner through Bush 1 and then Clinton and Bush 2 and Obama and now
9/11.
Trump. Yeah, 9/11.
Yep.
The whole economic meltdown
Yep.
in 8 and 9, and the company continues to expand
Right.
because it doesn't matter.
Right.
The moment you go into agreement that any of this matters, it's bad for business. And especially if you're going into an arena where you have a controversial issue. It's like, and you see superstars, you see athletes, folks from Hollywood, they come out and they take a political stance. Why?
Right. It has nothing to do with your movie. That
It
you
has
may or may
nothing to
not
do with
want
your
me to
movie.
see.
It has nothing to do with your song. It has nothing to do with your performance on the field. It has nothing to do. And somebody has convinced you that this is going to help your brand. I don't see how it could. Because you're immediately alienating the other group. How does that help your brand?
Right.
There's nothing.
Well, I guess it depends on what your company is and what it is that you do, right?
Yeah, so
like
you're-
we'll look at Quip toothbrushes here,
Yeah.
for instance. Okay, so apparently because I have a certain political view, I'm not supposed to be able to buy their product. Right. That's what that kind of.
But see, at that moment, here's.
But as a toothbrush company, anybody with teeth is a prospect for your product.
Exactly.
So who cares what their political stance is? If your goal in business is to help people with your product. Mm-hmm. Through something that has nothing to do with politics, which teeth doesn't,
Yeah.
then who cares?
Exactly.
If your goal is to help me clean my teeth better, what does it mean if what my politics or what my religion or what car I drive or what size shoe I wear?
It doesn't.
Now, if I make clothes that are only for extra large people, then I'm going to go after and I'm going to target people who are extra large because that's who fits in my clothes.
But you're not going to slam skinny people.
Right.
Right. You're not going to slam the opposition, you know? So shame on the executive, shame on the Quip Toothbrush CEO who allowed someone to enter the politics of what's going on in America into the brand.
And I guess
shame on the CEO.
The biggest thing that was weird to me about the Quip thing, particularly, was that you already supported or put your name on a person,
right,
who you already knew their views of.
Yeah.
So you entered yourself into that arena for clicks. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you don't want to get into that arena and have there be some sort of divisive thing, don't give him a sponsorship to begin with.
Don't spend your money over
if all
there.
you're trying to do is sell toothbrushes.
Exactly.
Don't get into that arena.
You knew this was coming.
Right.
Did you have this planned? I don't know. Did you figure out someday?
Was it such a shock at what he said? No.
No, not at all.
No.
And so then, if you're going into that arena and you're going to advertise with someone who's going to be, is going to be controversial,
right,
eventually.
If you want to throw your hat into that ring, then throw your hat into that ring. But if the purpose of your product is to help me clean my teeth, then okay.
Because
just have that as your goal, not to be a political goal.
Right. And the day the controversy happens,
right,
there's no way to win.
Right.
By pulling that sponsorship.
So here's my counter view.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is where things become interesting. I actually think that a business, Okay, I think that there's a difference between a business or an organization supporting different charities and organizations and having different political views. I think that you have to be able to take a stance towards something, right?
Fair enough.
Here's where I have a problem. Where I have a problem is in Hollywood with the athletes, whatever, right? When they take a view, what has become the norm is taking your stance and then telling people who don't believe in that they're whatever they are.
How can that be good?
I don't have a problem standing up and saying, hey, I support these charities. I support these organizations. If you want to support these charities, great, go for it. If you want to support a different charity that does something you want, who cares? It doesn't matter to me. If you don't support my idea and my charity, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're stupid.
Right.
Or call you names.
Right.
But you see, I think that's where things have become a problem. Because I actually do believe a lot of people stand up and they say, hey, I have a platform and I should use my platform to promote good and to promote whatever I want. I don't have a problem with that. But what I have a problem with is a late night show host coming on and telling me that if I don't agree with them, then I am the problem. And I go, that's when I have a problem. That's the only time that I have a problem with these two crossing.
Right.
Is I'm allowed to respect your beliefs. But when you tell me that because I voted for this person or because I think this way that I'm the problem, that's when I have a problem. So there's many people that I had to stop following on social media or talking to whoever because they said, well, if you don't agree with me, then you're the problem. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't want to listen to this crap anymore.
Exactly.
I just wanted to watch your bit. But it's like, it's become a point where it's not like, hey, this is what I think and this is why I think that, and we have a civil discussion about it. It's become an attack.
This is why I think what I think.
Right.
What do you think? Oh, wow, that's very interesting. I disagree. But it's turned into, this is what I think.
It's turned into right and wrong.
You're stupid.
Correct.
You're wrong.
Correct.
You're an idiot.
Right.
What is that?
Right.
That's
and
not
that's
good.
where I feel like that's when it becomes a problem. That's the only time I have a problem with people issuing their views, I guess.
Yeah,
okay?
by making you wrong.
I'm not saying you can't talk about what you believe in.
No, absolutely.
I don't care if you take a stance on one side or the other. I think this is where we slightly disagree or slightly see differently. I don't have a problem with a company or organization saying these are the values that we have. But if those are the values that you have, don't make me wrong or attack me for not believing in your values.
Okay, let's use.
You see the difference?
Sure, but let's use Chick-fil-A as an example. Okay, it's a Christian-run organization, and they close their restaurant on Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, and this is what they do.
Yep.
It is known when you're hired, you're not going to work on Sunday.
Yep.
And they say, well, Sunday is the only day of the week that I can work. This is going to be my third job. And they say, well, thanks for your application. We're never going to be open on Sunday.
Correct.
Now, Chick-fil-A then does not run a promotional campaign making every restaurant that's open on Sunday wrong.
Correct. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
So that's my point is in business, I agree with you. Take a stance.
Say who you are,
say
what
who
your
you
values
are,
are, and
what you do.
what
you are, great. But the moment now you're going to start making somebody else wrong,
right?
You're dead.
That's what I hate is when it's this is what I believe in and this is what you're wrong.
So let's take this down to a local level.
And here's the other thing from a statistical perspective.
Go ahead.
If somebody stands up and says something and then an organization, because of what they said and what they believe, now pulls their ads, their viewers, their money.
Yeah.
They're doing that because about 2.5% of the population was loud enough to create that effect.
I agree.
It's not a majority.
And a very small percentage.
Very small percentage.
Make a lot of noise if they use the right media venue, etc.
Right. I mean, I was already, not going to buy a Quip toothbrush because they're not good. Now I'm not going to buy one because they don't want me to buy one because I agree with a different perspective.
Right.
That's when you start getting into problems.
Okay, so I want to take this down now more onto a local level. Let's take it out of a national political level. So let's say you're in a community and they've chosen to build a bridge to nowhere. All right, so the local tax dollars are going towards it, and the community is now divided.
Right.
And you have a car dealership or a restaurant or dry cleaners or whatever, and you may even have a voice in that community. Maybe you're a former mayor or leader of a nonprofit, whatever. Okay, so then you come out now, and this is your car dealership or whatever, and you take a stance on the bridge to nowhere.
Okay.
All right. There's nothing good that's coming from that.
Okay.
Nothing. From a business standpoint, there's nothing good because the people who want the bridge, because of the jobs it's creating, or they own property on the other side of the bridge and it's going to be good for them or their side, you come out and you take a stance and you write an editorial in the local paper and I'm against the bridge to nowhere. Or there's not, you immediately alienate all those customers and they'll drive an hour to buy it at another Ford dealership, then walk across the street and buy it from you. So my point here is we talk about politics, but then anything controversial, and I agree with you, anything controversial, you go ahead and you can state a position if somebody asks you. Personally, I would avoid that question like the plague.
Or I would avoid having that be the way of growing my business to the next level, is to take advantage of this.
Yeah, if somebody thinks this is a good business decision,
try and be divisive.
Yeah, if you think it's a good business decision to take a stance on any side of any controversial issue, that is a bad business move. And that one statement, that one position can have a decade or 2 decades of negative effect on the company.
Okay.
So my position is, if somebody's going to ask me that kind of a question, a controversial question, we disagree a little bit, you can go ahead and make your stance. Okay, I'm not answering.
Sure.
I'm not answering.
I think it depends on what kind of company you are.
Well, that's true.
I think that there's companies that are out there that know who they are, and they talk about that, and that's just who they are, and they don't care. They don't care if the other side buys their product or doesn't buy their product.
Yeah, let's take Black Rifle Coffee.
Right.
They're all about guns.
They're all about guns, America, and freedom.
Yeah, exactly. So then,
and that's
other folks who are anti-gun,
right,
or whatever,
right,
they're not going to buy the coffee, and these guys are like, whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
But you see, that's where I think that at times it can be useful or it can be somewhat beneficial if that's who you are.
And that's
you see
fine.
What I mean?
Totally.
But you see, where I had a problem with the Quip thing is that they made it something that it wasn't.
You got it. I agree with you 100%.
Whereas somebody like Black Rifle Coffee Company or many other companies that make their reputation on we're American, we are this, we are that, that's
part of their brand.
So here's the interesting thing about the Black Rifle Coffee Company thing. They became the most famous when Starbucks took a political stance several years ago.
Oh, that was awesome for them.
When this, I forget the name now, the CEO of Starbucks came out and said, we're going to hire 10,000 immigrants or whatever it was, right? Okay, well, he took something that nobody was political about and put them into a political arena.
You got it.
Black Rifle Coffee Company set up and said, we're going to hire 10,000 veterans. So they they took that split and captured the market.
Genius.
That was excellent because that is who they are.
That's who they are.
Unabashedly. And I think that that's the difference between them and that. So this is why you and I are a little bit torn on it, is because I don't have a problem with somebody taking a political stance as long as they make that their stance.
And I agree with you on that.
And they are respective of other people. Right? Like, I'm fine with that. But what I had a problem with was somebody like Quip saying, hey, we're going to give you our advertising dollars because we want to sell toothbrushes.
Right.
As long as it's advantageous for them to sell toothbrushes.
Right.
You see what I mean?
I agree.
That's where I have that's where I think that becomes.
So you and I are very close on this, just off by a few degrees.
Just off by a little bit on it, because I think that it's okay to take a stance and to say something, but then you have to stand by it. Then you have to just say, hey, this is what it is.
And if you're going to take a stance,
but then don't invalidate me, or make me wrong because I don't buy your product. And that's where somebody like Black Rifle Coffee Company, they just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, you can buy it, you cannot buy it. I don't care. We're going to keep turning out content for people who love guns, America, freedom, and caffeine. That's what they do.
So then in the end, be ready. If you're going to take a stance, be ready.
Be ready.
And if that's part of your brand, go with it.
Right.
If it's not a topic of discussion right now, stay away.
Right.
As a CEO, as a business owner, just stay out of it.
There's nothing wrong with staying out of it as long as your goal is to help people with your product.
Exactly.
If your goal is to help me clean my teeth, then help me clean my teeth.
Just keep focusing on what does this product do.
If it's to be political, then you jump in the political arena. And
and if it's to be political, then just run for office.
Now, here's how this whole topic came about, because we could keep talking about this, but I want to tell the viewers. I was telling him I can't find a news article to talk about right now that isn't every headline.
That's right.
Something about the president and the administration.
Right.
All business articles are wrapped around this one thing. And that's what was pissing me off, was that it's like, your problem in business, every business problem is not this person, this administration, this whatever.
And that was my
And that's
point.
that's what gets me frustrated sometimes when it's hard for me to find business news that I like,
Right.
because it's all just about how, like, you know,
But here's my
it's
point.
all an agenda.
Here's my point. It doesn't matter.
right. I know it doesn't matter.
It does not matter. And then you can get yourself riled up. But they're going to raise taxes. Okay, fine, make more money.
Right.
They're going to change this regulation. Okay, comply and figure out how to beat them. And I say this all the time. I don't think I've ever said it, in this format.
Right.
The politician has not been born that can outsmart the entrepreneur.
I agree.
The politician has not been born
The
that can
entrepreneur
outsmart
is
the
always going to be in the
Just
lead.
look at NASCAR. Let's take NASCAR, okay? So NASCAR comes in, the cars are going too fast. We're going to slow them down.
Right.
We're going to put restrictor plates on the engine, which makes the engine lower horsepower. Okay, you just give Hendricks Motorsports 90 days in their wind tunnel that cost them whatever, $20 million. And within 90 days, they're going just as fast as they were. So NASCAR will not outregulate the engineers at Hendrick Motorsports or Stuart Haas.
People
anywhere.
always find a way
They
around
will find a way. The politician has not been born. They'll outsmart the entrepreneur only if you agree with it.
Right.
If you agree that this is a big deal and this is going to affect my business, you're dead.
So if you agree that the administration is the reason your business is failing, keep failing. But if you agree that you can be in control of your business, then you'll be successful no matter what's going on.
No matter what.
Right.
And this goes back to one of our other videos where it said, no matter what's happening, it's all internal. You have to figure it out. And this is where the rubber meets the road as a CEO, as an executive, as an employee. This is where the rubber meets the road.
So somehow that led to this entire other discussion. So anyway.
So we hope that you've had as much fun
I'm interested
watching
to hear,
this as we've had doing it.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this stuff.
Yeah, comment, please.
But I just don't think, I always think that this, like you said, this comes back to what we believe. And what we believe is that you can be in control of your business no matter what external things are going on. If your business is failing, it's only from internal things. And if you've gone into agreement with the environment affecting you, then you're done.
You're dead.
That's when you fail.
And this kind of leads into, I have to give a totally unabashed plug for my new book, Fun at Work. If you agree that all of that is happening, you're not going to have fun. You're going to be depressed. You're not going to go into work. So you agree that the politics or the whatever, the bridge to nowhere, whatever is affecting your business, you're not having fun.
Right.
So
you make less money, and then you see the headline that says something, 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 Trump administration. You go, see, that's why I'm not making money.
Exactly.
And then you're done.
Exactly. So if you want a pre-release copy of my book, then go to our landing page, funatworkthebook.com. It's going to be coming out soon. You'll get one of the first copies.
Okay, good. Well, that sums up this edition of the Business Newsroom. We're probably going to keep talking about this for a little while now.
Even after the camera shuts off.
Yeah, after the camera shuts off, we're still going to be talking about this. But we'd love to hear from you guys. Please subscribe, like, comment. If you want to know more about us, go to matterhornbizdev.com and find out more about who we are and what we do. And take our online sales training test and show me how good you are at sales at matterhorn.training. Let's see what your scores compare against ours.
All right. Have a good one.
That's the end.